Hello everyone, we're going to begin going over vocabulary. So our role for vocabulary today is to click and drag the definition and examples to the correct box. So over here you have a box with our words that we're going to be focusing on for the week. The column that's blue, I color coordinated for the definitions. So any definition that has a background or anything that you're dragging that has a background of blue is going to go in that blue column. And anything that has a background that's white is going to go in the example column. Okay, so we're going to be talking about exponents for this week. So that's our first word. And an exponent is the value that specifies how many times the base will be multiplied by itself. So what that means is when we deal with exponents, we have a base. That's like our big number that we have. Our exponent is that tiny little number that's in the right corner of our big number. And that exponent tells us how many times we will be multiplying that base by itself. So we're looking for the exponent specifically, which is that little tiny number. So in our examples, we're looking for which one has an arrow pointing to the little number. And that would be 5 to the third power. So we're going to click and we're going to drag it into our black. So you have to hold down on it. So once I clicked and dragged, I put it in my example box to prove that that's my example of exponents. Now this is 5 to the third power, or we can also say that's 5 cubed. When we say 5 cubed, I'm kind of going to be jumping around on this board just because cubed. So if we look at 5 cubed, that means that our exponent is represented by a 3. So we're looking for the definition for cubed, which is word right here. So we're trying to find which definition tells us that the exponent has a value of 3. And if we look here, it says tells you that the exponent has a value of 3. So you're going to click and you're going to drag that to the definition of cubed. So now that we have that definition for cubed, we're going to go to our examples and we're going to find the example that has our exponent is a 3. So I see 2 to the third power and 3 to the third power. We're going to take to the 3 to the third power because we're not looking for anything other than just the cubed being represented. Okay, so now if you have that tells you the exponent of the value is 3. So our exponent is 3, and our base is our big 3. So that's going to tell us that we're going to multiply 3 times 3 times 3. So your base is what's being repeatedly multiplied by itself. So we're going to say that the base is the number that is being multiplied repeatedly. So I'm going to click my definition, and I'm going to drag it to what my base is. And I have already given you the example of the arrow pointing to the 2. Now we're going to look for the exponential form. Exponential form is just a fancy way of saying how to write it. Our 3 examples that we have, 5 to the third, 2 to the fourth, 3 to the third power. But the exponential form has the expanded form written in front of it. So that would be our 2 times 2 times 2, which equals 2 to the third power. Now we have squared, which tells you that the exponent has a value of 2. So we're looking for that little number that's a 2. So in our 2 examples, it would be 3 squared. We can say 3 to the second power, or you can say 3 squared. Either one of those is correct. Now I said expanded form is just simply taking out your base and multiplying it by itself repeatedly. So your expanded form, we can do the example, which is taking 8 times 8 times 8 times 8. That's writing it, you're making it that exponent larger, you're making it bigger. And that would be repeatedly multiplying it. So we're looking for a definition that says an exponent written as repeated multiplication. Your standard form is just a fancy way of telling us the answer for an exponent. So if I were to give you 5 squared, that's 5 times 5, so your standard form of that is 25. So it's the way you just write the answer to an exponent, right? So that's definition. These words are what we're going to be focusing on for the whole week. So if you have any questions, please contact me, or if you find that you need more help on something, please let me know.